all the different states. Okay, so it has all the different states inside each specific state. Say for example, if you just look at Kerala, right? So I'm just clicking on Kerala. It has around 2883 non-government organizations, NGOs. Okay, so it has a complete data of what exactly is that specific NGO, what's the name of it, and what's the registration number, and city details and address, and what is the specific sector it is working on. So you have all these informations available, right? When you look at this as a website, right, I have just requested for this website. I have typed some informations here on the address bar. I have just pressed enter. So as an user, I'm requesting for this website. So I'm just getting this on my browser window, right? But what web scraping is all about is you will create a software or you will create an application which connects with this browser, okay, which contacts to that specific server to get these details. Actually, okay, it talks to the DOM. Okay, so if you right click on it, if you inspect it, so here you see you have something called as elements, right? So on a web browser, if you look at it, you have something called as elements, right? So this is exactly your DOM tree, okay, document object model. So your browser receives this information. So it receives your HTML page from the server and it just constructs this DOM. Okay, once this DOM is constructed, this DOM is actually used for displaying this website. Say for example, if I just have to change this value inside this button back to state-wise list, so it just gives me the area where it is located. So here, if I look at it, I can edit it here, right? So I'll just go here. I'll just edit the DOM. So what I'm just right now doing is I'm just editing the DOM. Okay, so I'm just telling it as Navanidan's button, right? I'm just pressing enter. When you look at the website here, it actually gets changed, right? So here, whenever you make a change with the DOM, it immediately gets reflected on the web page. Okay, why? Because every time a DOM
Sir,
change, yeah,
will
yes.
it be like that for all users, or just like for you?
No, it will be the same for all users. Even you can also manipulate the DOM. Okay. So I'm just trying to manipulate this DOM so that whenever the browser senses that the DOM has got modified, it immediately modifies your web page as well. Okay. So you don't have to worry about changing the website content. Okay. Again, when you refresh it, again, you're going to get the same data from the server. Again, it is going to display all these particular aspects. Okay, again you are going to get the entire data from your server, so that again it recreates this DOM and then it displays all these informations, right? So again you can see here, so it is back to the same state, right? Because it has got all these informations from the server back. So server always sends a copy of that particular info. It will not send you the exact data, right? Yeah, I just answered few Om Kailash questions, right? So it's more like someone has a question on self hyphen XSL. Can you please, yeah, Bharatram, yeah, can you please specific on what is your specific doubt? Yes.
Sir, I was editing a Google Docs and I was on a Google Meet and I pressed some button and it opened some dong and it was like it's sure that I don't know if it's a I don't remember if it's a Google Meet or Google Docs.
Okay.
It came that if you activate this, people can do self accesses. I mean, yeah, self double access.
Okay, so when you talk about self XSL, when it is with respect to web page, so it is more or less like a class, okay, for styling it. Okay, so it differs based on the scope, like where exactly it is being spoken. Okay, right. Now, I'm just coming back to our concept here. Okay, now you don't have to access this website. What you can do here is you can access this DOM. If you can access this DOM, if you have, what all you have to do is you have to give a website. Okay, you have to give a website, which is nothing but this information. Okay, it will just connect with this DOM. It will try to read it. Okay, say for example, if I'm just interested in this area, so this name of this Vivo, right? So here what I'll do is I'll just click on this, select an item, then I'll just click on this. Okay, directly it will take me to that specific link. If you look at this link, you have a table data here, right? You have a table data here, which has the data AK Cherian Memorial Charitable Society, right? So I'm just closing this. If you look at the next table data, it has this information. If you look at this next table data, it has this information, right? So this is one. If you look at this TD1, so this is your first one, right? This is your table row. Now, if you see these TR actually consist of all your data. If you look at it, I'm just navigating over the TR here. Every time I navigate, it just navigates over the entire content here, right? So if we have enough idea of what exactly is actually the tag, where our informations are residing, okay, then we can directly talk to the DOM and we can just get that particular information. So the most important problem over here is whenever you try to communicate with the DOM, it just thinks that you are a stranger. Okay, why should I give you this data? So you have to speak to this DOM something like a browser request. You have to imitate yourself as a browser request. Okay, so there are lots of options available right now. When you speak about web scraping or data scraping, you can send a request to this browser asking for its DOM and retrieve all the informations whatever you require. But whenever your DOM senses that it is not a request coming from a browser, it is a request coming from an application, it will deny it immediately. Okay, so we have some lots of methods which can support us. Whenever we make a request, it can be wrapped. It can be wrapped. Okay, you can write a wrapper around it, showcasing that it is a browser request. Okay, your browsers can easily be tricked. Okay, your browsers can easily be tricked, and you can extract informations. And this is actually your web scraping. Okay, so web scraping, data scraping, all these activities are done just to extract informations. Okay, all the necessary informations from your websites and other things as well, right? I hope I made this point clear. Is it clear to everyone? Can I proceed with the next one?
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yeah.
So, like Google uses these web crawlers like to map all the data on the sites, right? Is that also a type of web scraping?
When you talk about crawlers, it is basically a bot which is created only to do this kind of activity. Whenever there is a request which is coming from a application point of view, like we can call it as a web scraping, right? So why I'm just mentioning all these things here is like all these items, buzzwords are all related to bot. Okay, so all our malicious activities, malicious bots, they operate and they contribute a lot for all these kinds of negative impacts. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Thanks.
Yeah, good. Now coming back to the next things again. Okay, right. Now we have discussed about phishing and scraping attack, right? Okay. Now next thing is DDoS attack. Can someone tell me like what exactly is DDoS?
It's a type of attack where like it's a distributed denial of service. So basically, the computers will keep sending like unnecessary requests to the server, and it will overflow with requests and it will crash because it cannot handle too much.
Okay, right. Good work. Okay. Any other answers? Now, what he has actually said is exactly the right definition. Okay. Any other answers from other people's? Any other answers? What exactly is DDoS attack? Right. So DDoS basically stands for distributed denial of service. Okay. So it's basically an internet attack. Okay. So when you talk about DDoS, so the main objective of this attack is to prevent your own users from accessing your specific website. Okay, say for example, you have created an excellent website or where you have lots of users accessing it on a daily basis, like you have a very good decent thing, right? Now the amount of scalability, when you talk about scalability, the number of users your website or your server can handle at a moment, okay, when it is say for example 1 crore, okay, it can handle 1 crore people in single second, okay, for every second it can actually handle 1 crore people, okay. So definitely if there are any other customers who are greater than 1 crore, like definitely you will have that experience saying that server is busy, or right now it is busy at the moment, all these stuffs, right? Now these things can be introduced artificially, the traffic, okay, so your website's traffic etc can be introduced artificially, okay. So what the attackers will try to do is they'll try to send multiple requests to your specific server, so that your server will be busy handling all those things and all, because it will not know that the request is actually coming from an attacker, okay. It will try to just send a response to all the particular attackers, okay. So it will try to keep your particular server busy, so that none of your user will be allowed to use that particular service, okay. So that is actually kind of denial of service attack, okay. So that's about DDoS attack, okay. What is inventory denial attack? Have you heard of inventory denial attack?
So you're not sharing your presentation. You are showing the NGO darpan.go that in.
Oh, thanks kid, right? Is it okay now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Right. So one thing I was talking about is DDoS. Okay, so denial of service. Like even if you have a server which has a purpose of servicing your customers, it will be made busy. Okay, so say for example, like unnecessarily, like it will be busy. Okay, it will not know that the request is coming from an attacker. Okay, it will always be in a busy state. Okay, so there are people or an attackers who do these kind of activities, right? So this is one more thing I just wanted to speak about. Okay, DDoS. Okay, it's all about an informative session, like where I'll be able to share my particular thought process, right? So the main use of all these things, like who will be using it? So there will be people called as a cyber criminals, okay, who actually flood the entire systems with many number of requests, okay. So what they are trying to do, they are trying to send multiple requests, so that they'll try to form a gigantic network, okay, a network of bots or a botnets, okay, such that your server is always busy. It has no time to serve your customer, okay. So such an attack is actually called as DDoS, okay. When you talk about inventory denial attack, okay, is there any specific answers for this inventory denial attack?
I think inventory denial attack is that something the attacker does not let a person to go to that website.
Okay, right. I'll give you a real-time example of what
I
exactly.
have heard of this.
Okay.
So I think it's like it automatically adds all the products to the cart and it'll show to other people like the product is out of stock.
Okay. Okay. So I'll just give you it's exactly correct, but I'll just be more specific. Okay. So assume you are actually trying to book an a movie ticket. Okay. You are trying to book a movie ticket. Okay. So here in Coimbatore, like we have Spice Cinemas and all, right? So we are trying to book a movie ticket. You might be experiencing such things, right? So if you are just trying to select something, when your particular order is not complete, again, when you are trying to rebook again, when you're trying for the second attempt, the seat which you're looking for will be like not available. Either it's not like someone has booked it already, but it will be like since there is no clear picture of that whether it is available or not, we'll not be able to book the same tickets again, right? So the same seats again. So we'll have such kind of things, right? So similarly, whenever you are trying to say for example you own a website, okay, you own Amazon, okay, you own Amazon's website right now, okay, you have an e-commerce website where people are actually purchasing, so they are just trying to add products to their cart and they're trying to do a shopping etc and all, right? So if I believe myself as an cyber criminal, if I want to just spoil all your business, what I can do here is I can just design a quick bot, okay. So what exactly this bot will do? So whenever I try to run this bot, what exactly it will try to do is it will attack your website. Okay, whatever may be the competitor company. So if I think like you are a competitor for me, like I'll just try to attack your specific website. So it will access all the shopping cart. Okay, shopping cart details. It will select all the items whichever is available inside your products page, and it will try to put everything. It will add everything on to your cart items, right? And it will never do that shopping. It will never complete the transaction. It will leave it as such. So it will be like 80% completed without giving. So all your items will be added to cart. Yeah, so what exactly it will be like is like the overall products, number of products will be less, but none of the transaction would be completed. Okay, so always the company owner will receive an out of stock message even if the item is actually in stock. Okay, so as long as this bot is continuing to execute this kind of a task automatically, you will not make any specific profit at all. Okay, so whatever the websites you create, exactly it has to have a better solution to handle these kinds of bot attacks and all, right? So is that clear with respect to the inventory DL attack? Is that clear, or do you want me to be
Yes, sir,
more
it's clear.
elaborate? Right. Next activity is credential filling attacks. Okay, have you ever heard of it? Credentials filling attacks.
Sir, it's actually
No,
when
sir.
you steal your bank, they steal your bank account details, which consist of your email ID, passwords.
Okay, okay, okay.
So
Let me. Yeah.
it's like sometimes there may be any leaked databases of like Gmail account or something, and the bot will try to like brute force whatever's on the list and try to get any working account.
Correct, correct. So the real-time example would be like
Sir,
as a
sir, I
yes,
have a doubt.
yeah.
Sir, what is the additional thing if we search in incognito mode?
I couldn't get exactly what you're speaking about. Incognito mode, yeah,
Yeah.
yes. So incognito mode will not store whatever the web pages you are visiting, all these informations. But definitely, it is not something like no one is knowing it. Your internet service provider will be able to see whatever the websites you are trying to visit. Okay, still there will be a chances to view it. So for now, like it will not store any specific websites you're looking for in the cache or cookies or anything of that sort. So that's the difference with
We
incognito
can't
mode.
again, get the pages back.
Yeah,
We
because it
can't
is not
restore
getting
them.
stored inside your history or cache, right? So what is the main use of cache or a history, right? Okay. Say for example, you have an 1 TB hard disk inside your computer where you store a data, right? You access it for the first time. Okay. You have to surf through the entire, say for example, 1 TB hard disk to find that specific data, right? But for the second time, if you're looking for the same data, your computer should be smart enough to figure it out. Okay, so this will be the data always he'll be looking at. So I'll just have a copy of that here so that I'll just give the direction. So this is what you want. So it will be easier to load it from a cache rather than to load it from an entire hard disk, because the search process, it will definitely take lots of time. Likewise, whenever you visit a website, like it just stores all these details somewhere else so that it can be uh, opened again in a lesser amount of time as well. Okay, you got that right?
Okay, so yeah, I got it.
Okay. So when you talk about credential filling attacks, it is more or less like in false account creation. Okay, say for example, I have around 10 accounts. I have an Gmail account, I have an professional account, my work email, and I have some Facebook ID. I have something like WhatsApp, everything. I have lots of around some 10 accounts are actually linked to my specific human personality, right? So if that is actually the case, not everyone will have different passwords for all these accounts, right? So one might be having a password which he will try to use it for all the accounts, because whenever he forgets that, like it will be a tedious process for him. So always he keeps similar kind of password for all the particular accounts. So in that case, if a single password is being exposed, okay, or if there is a chance to just find out what is the single password, immediately your bot exactly will try to log in with that password in all your associated accounts. Okay, it will try to see that whether this possible combination works for all the accounts and all the passwords automatically without the knowledge of the user. Okay, so it will just result in exploiting, and it will just result in uncorrected vulnerabilities, right? So it will try to do a false account creation, website access, forum
So,
contamination. Yes.
so if that person is, like, just checking who like take an example of a Gmail account. In Gmail, you can say who and all are when in which computers are you logged in.
Correct.
If can he see the new computer he's logged in into?
Yeah, sir. Whenever you are just logging from, you are actually doing a login from a different system. Immediately, there is a security mechanism built into your software, which is integrated. It would be a attack. Okay. So always you will get a message saying that someone has logged in your account with this particular system. High level of connectivity, right? I'm just hearing some other voice actually. Yeah, right. Right. Yeah. So when we talk about these things, okay. So whenever your IP address, like say for example, I use a laptop for normally logging into my official accounts. Okay. Suddenly if I switch to a different system or something of that sort, immediately I'll be just notified. Okay, because it the system will predict this as an vulnerable attack. Okay.
Guys, can you all please mute yourself? Please mute.
In the banking system, if you take, okay, if you hold in salary account, I don't hope so, like, but for a salary account, the normal deposit would come only from salary. Okay, if you are just depositing a bulk amount of a cash or a check, if you just process it over your salary account, the system will actually figure it out and it will just flag it, so that it will just debit freeze it, so that you'll no longer be able to take any retrieve any specific amount from it. Okay, so because there are some intelligence which are added to the system just to find out whether things are actually going inside your normal flow or not. Okay, so this credential filling, what I was just talking about, is like due to some other leak, like if your passwords or if your email ID or if it is something exposed, okay, then using that information, your bot will try to log in from a different portal. So it will try to access different portals with that same account and passwords, and it will try to steal all those informations. Okay, and hope so, like you're all using some Facebook and WhatsApp and all, right? So you might be wondering, like you may have served some data. Okay, another proof, like what to say, like you would have say for example, you wish for a smartphone. Okay, you wish for an Apple iPhone XR, or you wish for an Apple iPhone 11 Pro. Okay, so always you go to the particular browser, like you just go log into your Amazon, you just look at that particular thing, you just always check out for the price, whether it is offer or not. And to your surprise, like you will be receiving emails with related to that specific products. Okay, whenever there is an offer, whenever you always get lots and lots of messages, emails, WhatsApp communications asking for that, so it will be very specific. Okay, you will not know like what exactly it is going on behind the scenes. Okay, they have something called as analytics.js. Okay, it records every specific information whenever you're logging inside your website, the time you spend on a website. And so say for example, I'll just go, I'm not going to keep this slide as such. Okay, I'm just going to go a bit beyond. Okay, so let me just take you to the browser. So here I'll just talk about analytics.js, right? Okay, is this screen visible to everyone? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Good. So now, right now, it is actually possible to add analytics to your website, right? So when you talk about analytics, what kind of informations people can get? Okay. So all they have to do is they have to create a script element. They have to add these things there. That's it. So it's very simple, right? So whenever this is actually done, you can just see this. It can get the total time a user actually spends on your specific site, the time an user actually spends on each page, and the order of pages, in which order every pages were actually visited, what are all the internal links they have actually clicked. Okay, and the geographical location of the user, what is the browser they are using, what is the operating system they are using, what is the screen size they are trying to use, and whether Flash or Java is installed on that machine, what is the site they are referring to. Everything, all these data can be obtained just in analytics. It's a JavaScript framework, right? So adding this to your website, it gives all your details, right? So these informations can be used by Facebook. Okay, they can just give to their partner or their third party vendors so that they might contact you directly, because they does not know where exactly is the demand, okay, who will be the potential buyers for my product. So this helps it. Okay, so there are lots and lots of things which are going behind the scenes, right? See, I'm just deviating more into the other topics. I just want to be stick around. I just want to stick around with the bots actually. Okay, so is that clear?
Yes,
Right.
sir.
Good. So I hope this is done. Okay, phishing, you got what exactly it is. Scrapping attack, you just got what exactly it is, and the denial of service attack, and inventory denial attack, and credential filling attacks. Yes. Okay. I hope this slide is somewhat clear to everyone. Next thing is, what can you infer from this?
The first one is Siri and second one is Cortana.
Okay.
So
Can
they
both of
both
them
are
be
like
called as bots?
a bot that can help you with anything. You can talk to them, or they can give you a referring link also.
Exactly, right? So what are all the things which a bot can do? Just imagine and tell me, like, what are the things which your bot can do?
Take a selfie.
Okay,
They can help us and they can be like our friends.
okay,
Show whether the shop is open or not.
okay,
They can search for any query in the internet.
okay, good.
Set
They
an alarm.
can perform any Android functions or window functions,
Tell the weather.
opening apps.
Exactly, okay,
Playing music.
Yeah,
okay. So even if you want to
They will
switch on
give
to Wi-Fi or something, like just if you tell Siri, like it will do everything. If you want to set a reminder, it will send. If you want to send a text message to someone, like if you just tell this is the content, this is the person, like it will do it. So everything is done. Okay, okay, good, nice. What about the picture on the right side? Cortana.
Cortana is available in Windows 10.
yeah. It's the
yes.
thing on Windows where you which helps to navigate through the computer easily.
Okay.
Sir, but it is going to die soon, sir.
I mean,
Okay.
I personally don't use Cortana or Google or anything like that.
Okay.
When
Okay. Right. How about this side? Alexa?
Alexa made by Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah, that is
I
also
have
pretty.
Alexa in my house.
Okay. Good one. Right. So whether either knowingly or unknowingly you are actually interacting with bot. All the detail what here it is missing here is you does not know whether you're interacting with a bot or not. Okay, you seem to be like interacting with an application, but actually there is a bot behind the scenes which is doing all those stuffs, right? So there are lots of needs. Okay, when you talk about bots, how do they actually work, or how will a bot will work? It actually depends more on the type of bots. Okay, what it is actually programmed to do, what will be the end task. Okay, what can you infer from this image? Just a normal image. I don't think the clarity is very good, but just you see a person like who's
uh,
actually working on an internet looking for tickets, flight
yes.
tickets.
Uh,
He's trying to get some details, right? So who's actually doing
yes,
the job?
yes.
So I think he has given the information on the website, but he's needing more help from the bot. So it's confirming the information and giving results.
Correct. Even a bot can look for a specific price. Okay, it can just surf through multiple websites and it can just bring you a specific list of tickets with all the prices, lowest prices. Even you might have heard about Trivago, right? So even if you just book a hotel, like it just serves all the other websites and it just showcases the entire list, best price, cheaper price for you, right? So we can actually have a bot to do this operation behind the scenes, right? And
Sir,
the
even
drawback,
IRCTC has one, sir.
exactly, right? So it is not feasible for an organization or an software owner like to just deploy multiple resources to have a customer interaction. Okay, if we are actually deploying these bots, this will run 24 cross 7. Okay, it is very good at doing the same repetitive task. Okay, you don't have to worry about you don't have to worry about spending. Okay, your resources will be saved, your money will be saved. So there are a lot of advantages, right? When you just look at this picture, there is also a negative impact over here, right? This bot is helping this user in getting the information, right, from a different websites. Okay, so whenever you look at a website, or from a website point of view, whenever there is a traffic which is very high, okay, always the prices goes up. Okay, when there are large number of when there is large amount of demand, okay, always the price goes up, right? So likewise, like it increases your web traffic. Okay, because when you look at your entire internet, okay, 50% of your internet traffic is only because of this bots, because this bots will communicate to human, this bots will communicate to another human, this bots will communicate with web pages. It has lots of things to do. Okay, so when you just look at the broader picture, 50% of your entire internet traffic is only because of bots and its communication. Okay, so it also has a downside as well. Okay, right. Next one. What is this? This is a
The
specific
bot was
bot, which was, what is the main task of this bot? To send text
the,
messages. So this
the
is
bot was
actually,
receiving some messages.
exactly. So this is actually called as chatbots. It is used for a normal conversational style. Okay, it basically do all these kinds of stuffs. Okay, so there are different layers of bot creation. The first layer is like you just ask him to do what exactly it has to do. Okay, you just say if this was the incoming request, you have to do this. If this is the incoming request, you have to do this. The next stage would be like to add artificial intelligence. If you try to add some intelligence to your bot, it will transform to a different thing. Okay, so we'll talk about all these things. Okay, so whatever the image I have shown here, it actually replicates your chatbot. Okay, this one, as name implies, it is your Twitter bots. Okay, it can tweet and it can, and you can also like you can see like Amazon. Okay, if you buy a product, definitely like you get a message from Amazon bot saying that yeah, your experience, even if your experience was actually pathetic and it just, oh, sorry for the inconvenience, like will actually take up. It responds to all sorts of emotions, right? So it is programmed to do so. Okay, because customer retention will be there, right? So there are basically two sections. Okay, one section will be on the overview and what are all the different kinds of bots, what can you do with it, and second thing would be to a session would be to create a bot. Okay, how will you create a bot, how will you create a bot, and how will you make it work? Okay, so that is another different aspects. Okay, so that actually involves more often hands-on kind of stuff, right? So here we'll actually be discussing that at the later half of a stage. Okay, I'm just probably like expecting one more session for you people, so that I'll just give you a live hands-on bot creation activity, so that you will be like more interested, right? Next thing, what are bots made of? How does it work?
AI.
Yeah. Okay, AI. Okay. When you look at AI, artificial intelligence, exactly when you look at if you just split it into an atomic level, it's all about algorithms. Okay, you just if you just say this is the steps which has to be followed.
Commands and variables.
Exactly. Commands, whatever the commands, whatever the instructions you give to your bot, like it exactly obeys that and it exactly does that. Okay. Even it does that more than that. Okay. When we talk about how does it work, that is where yeah, it has a very big answer here. Okay, you cannot put it here, right? Okay, how does it work? The working nature of a bot depends more on the type of its operation. Say, for example, for what it is actually being deployed here, the purpose of that bot that actually decides its work. Okay, so for that to be clear, you should first learn about the types of bots. What are all the different kinds of bots? What each bot is capable of doing it. Then you have to just think of working on it, right? So let's have a closer look into a bot. The first example, what I'm just going to talk about here is a chatbot, right? What exactly is a rule-based chatbot? So you were actually asking, right, how your bots are working, right?
Anna, your voice is very feeble.
Is it audible right now?
Yes, yes, bro.
Yeah, it's better.
Okay. So the first thing I was actually talking about is a rule-based chatbot. Okay. Say for example, Chatbot, by nature, by naming convention, it is basically a program which will simulate a talk with a human being. Say, for example, you would have heard some machine voice, okay, some female voice like speaking over a call, or some giving you some instructions when you're busy, like press 1 or press 2 or something like that, right? So this is actually your famous. You might also have heard about Eliza, right? So like it actually pretended to be a psychotherapist and all, right? So we have all these chatbots, okay? So this is one category of chatbots. This is one category of bots actually. Okay. So what exactly this will do? This will basically communicate text messages because it has a rule to it saying that if you just have received this kind of things, you have to respond with this one. So you have all your rules which are actually given prior to it. A rule based chatbot. Okay. It will give you a predefined prompt. Okay, for an individual to select. Say, for example, it will give you some case, multiple case, switch case options. Press 1, I'll do this. Press 2, I'll do this. Press 3, I'll do this. So it's all programmed there. Okay, so that is one thing. So this is the basic level of chatbot which we had in our earlier stages. Next, coming back, we had something called as ML bot, machine learning. Okay, machine learning is actually a buzzword again here. Machine learning, can machines learn? Definitely, if you just guide them on the correct data set. Say, for example, if you have a cricket match, right? So if you are just giving it to a machine saying that this was actually the match, these are all the members, like this was actually the score, etc., and all, it will get trained on that particular data. The more and more amount of data set you feed, the more and more amount of data you feed, it will try to learn from it. Okay, and then it will just try to predict the future. Say, for example, stock would be an excellent example over here. Say, for example, if you just provide a bot with all the statistical data and all, it will try to figure out an equation. Okay, the more and more you just introduce new factors, the more and more it will just have an accuracy. Okay, so when you talk about ML, it is not 100% accurate, it is more or less 80% accurate. Okay, so you can have a projection, right? Definitely, I'm in Discord, so I'll definitely try to chat with you, right? So it's not an issue, right? Then when you come about machine learning, you have different stages. Okay. Yes.
Sir,
Yes.
if you are in Discord, can you please send the recording of it in the Discord thing?
Sure, sure, sure. There are people like who will be definitely doing
I
it.
have.
Right. We'll actually
Can you
share.
send this recording in Discord?
Definitely, definitely. I'll do it. Okay.
Okay, sir. Bye, sir.
Yeah. Thanks. One more thing is ML bot. When you talk about ML bot, it has large advantages. Okay, so it can actually think of its own. So that's the intelligence you can add to a normal rule-based chatbot. So what you can actually come up with is you can come up with an extremely new chatbot, right? Extremely new chatbot. So this is exactly your artificial intelligence bot, which combines your machine learning algorithms and your normal rule-based chatbot. So this combo, you will have it as AI bots. Okay. So this is one of your examples. Okay. Next, coming back to your type of bots. The first one, as we have discussed, it is basically a chatbot. Okay, which is nothing but you can combine. Okay, you have things like natural language processing, everything which can be integrated into it. Okay, and one more information here, what I just wanted to convey is every organization or an individual will use bot. Okay, there are large number of bots available on a website everywhere it is going to do, but not all your bots are doing a good task. Okay, there are bots which are actually created only to do problematic things. Okay, so you should definitely have a person, a manual intervention would be required in order to manage all these bots. Okay, so definitely there are large amount of bot management software which are basically available, which actually takes care of this bots. Okay, you can also have it as an web security, you can have it in your web security. Okay, so basically you want something like a bot manager because you clearly know that things has to be in a smooth way, right? So when you talk about types of bots, first it's chatbots, which basically works like simulating talking experience with a human being, right? So that is one thing. Social bots will basically operate on social media platforms. There is also a shop bot which purchases, okay, which customers based on your expectations. It just logs into your site and it just logs in as your user, and it just navigate your entire website, and it just picks up the best price for a product which you can actually give. And there is also a bot called as nobot. Okay, this is actually a bot which is programmed to collect knowledge for a specific user. Say for example, you are looking at something, it just reserves your internet and just gives back your result. Okay, it does this job automatically, right? So now the one what you were asking about, spiders or crawlers, these are all the negative aspects. Okay, it is also called as web crawler. Okay, this bot is designed or it is programmed to access your websites. Okay, it will try to gather as much of content. Okay, so basically whenever there is a website which is getting loaded on your browser, usually like it just looks for the indexes in your search engines. Okay, so only because of that it is able to navigate to that specific website in an lesser amount of time. Okay, but here what exactly this will do here is it visits your websites and read all their pages and informations in order to create specific entries. Okay, so that is actually the job of your spider. When you talk about crawlers, okay, so both are actually, it means the same. Okay, it tries to access your websites and gather as much of content. Okay, either the websites might be a legal way or it might be an illegal way, right? So you can also use these kinds of crawlers bots to be used in web scraping. Okay, so whenever you want an information to be extracted from a specific websites and you have to pull it out to this bot, it can actually do it, right? And there are also a different category of bots which are used only for monitoring activities. Okay, so say for example, you have a website whose health can be monitored by using your bot, and there are actually bots which can help you out in transaction. Okay, it completes all your transactions. Say for example, if you're using some phone, I guess like if you want to do a purchase activity, just simply double clicking on it or just showing your face to your camera, like it just makes your purchase successful, right? So everything is made easy. It's a few clicks away, right? Everything is taken care by bot. Okay, basically there are two categories of bots, good as well as bad one, right? So it all depends upon like how we are actually programming it to use. Okay, some might be used for business, scheduling your meetings and functionalities, entertainments, etc. And it will have lots of advantages like 24/7. You'll have all your bots available 24/7. Customer experiences will be good. You can actually focus more on important tasks. Your time is actually saved. Everything is okay, but there are some negative downsides as well, right? So when we talk about negative downsides, as I said, like denial of service bots, what exactly it will do? It will overload your service resources so that your entire service might be at halt. Okay, there are some spam bots which will actually post promotional contents. Okay, just to drive your traffic high. No other positive insight. Okay, there are some hackers who make use of this bot to distribute malwares and attack all your websites. So for all these reasons, like your bot will be actually used. Okay, it actually depends on how we are actually programming it and how far it is able to get rid of all these problems. Okay, because we actually have an advantages as well as it can also be problematic as well. Okay, so that is why like I just talk about there should be an still human should be necessary, okay, for a manual intervention, whether things are getting in a right direction or if it is going beyond what exactly it is, right? So that is where we actually need something called as bot managers. Okay, so this is for your information, like more than half of your internet traffic is basically because of bots, because it talks to web pages, humans, it scans your contents and performs other tasks, and most of your internet traffic is actually because of bot, right? These are all the pros. You can have better customer experience, all your purchasing process, everything would be made simple, personalized services because it knows what is your taste. Okay, it just gives you all the particular details which are exactly matching your specific taste, and the number of resources which you would require will also be lesser because it's handling every particular aspects. Again, when you talk about the downsides, again we have We have something called as impersonators, hacking tools, scrapers, scammers. All these kinds of illegal activities can also be possible with the help of your bot, right? So we definitely need something called as a bot manager who can actually help you out with this content, right? Now, the next important thing, CAPTCHA charts. Have you seen this in website?
Yeah, I've seen like Google Capture, which you have to verify that
What
you're
is
a
need for
human.
CAPTCHA chairs here?
Like you have to verify that you are a human and not a bot.
Okay, what is the need for that?
It's like a Turing test to
Correct. So
stop unnecessary bots from accessing data or entering data.
correct. So definitely you know clearly that there is a bot which is actually working on the negative area, right? So it's actually doing a job which is not exactly, which is legal. Okay, it is basically illegal, right? So in order to verify that, okay, so always we have to make sure that whether this request is coming from a human or it is whether coming from a bot. So we have to have such kind of things, right? So for that's why like we have all these CAPTCHAs entries, okay, which a bot might not able to be figure out. And we also have something called as IP rate limiting. Okay, what exactly is this? What exactly is this?
I think it's like that particular IP address cannot enter too much data within a particular time limit.
Exactly, exactly. So if you have an IP rate limiting, right? So then we can actually try to control. Say for example, if more than one users are logging on a different systems, so you can just figure it out. Okay, like what is the total number of IPs? Like where exactly this is being active? Everything can be actually tracked. Okay, so this is more or less into an combination access control. Okay, so when you talk about like you have to identify whether this is actually a genuine request coming from a user or whether it is a bot which is trying to steal information. Okay, so that's exactly that one. Okay, so right, so this is basically a clear differentiator for whether it is a human or bot. Okay, so Harshvardhan, yeah, it's really good. Actually, it's good. So right. Next, what are all the other services bot are actually being used, okay, which you are not actually aware of? News applications. So headlines, reading all your headlines and all, like you use news apps, right? So next thing is Spotify. So it is being used in, okay, you can also schedule all your meeting invites, right? So like what you do it in a Zoom, right? So everything is actually possible with the help of a bot, right? And I just want you to talk about, I just want you to know about two things. Have you heard of BYOD, BYOD, BYOD policies? I just type it in the chat so that it is visible to everyone. BYOD, right? Is it visible to everyone? BYOD, BYOD, and IoT.
IoT is
IoT, I
like
think
Internet
like
of Things,
everyone
but
will be aware
I do
of,
not know about Biod.
right? Okay, so buyouts are nothing but policies, okay, which are favoring your bots for more engaging on the negative aspects. Say, for example, buyout actually stands for bring your own device. Okay, you can just take this situation as an example. You're mostly like working from home. You're actually doing work from home, so majority of the parents, like they were actually doing an extended way of work, like they are just feeling comfortable working with their own home. Even companies, like they are allowing people to just bring their own technology with them, bring their own phone with them, bring their own personal computers with them, right? So they use all these kinds of, so whenever they are working on an workplace, like the security or whatever it actually has is actually tremendous. Okay, but when they are actually working at home, like there is actually a breach with respect to your securities. Okay, They might misplace their laptops or mobile phones somewhere so that it might be accessible to someone else, like who might have an access to your workplace or workforce documents or whatever it is. Okay, but actually when you consider this from buyer policies from an user perspective, they have lots of advantages as well. Increased productivity from an user. Employees are very much satisfied, like they are given and work at home, and they actually the company is actually trying to save more money because they don't have to worry about paying their electricity bills, or whenever the employee is actually is responsible for taking care of your systems situation and all, like they don't want any maintenance to be done because it is his own laptop, like he has to take care of it. So anyways, like he's going to do that job. Okay, so that is one particular thing. So your entire work was actually flexible, it was made more flexible. Okay, but on the downside, I was talking about the downside, right? Mobility and security risk. Okay, if you are trying to work from a personal mobile devices like tablets or smartphones or laptops, you are actually free to choose your own networks to connect for an internet, right? So this might have a security breach. Okay, if you misplace your personal devices, definitely your sensitive data are actually exposed. You have lots of things to at a risk, right? And malwares and viruses, everything, right? And unnecessary network consumptions, everything will actually have. Okay, so there are lots of downsides. Okay, so you may not be aware of what exactly is going behind the scenes, but these are all some particular things which you have to think, right? So what I have actually planned is a separate session on creating bots. Okay, so creating bots, I'm just planning to say it's already done. Okay, I have created a bot for Discord application. Okay, I hope like everyone here is actually using Discord application, right? So let's code it hands on. Okay, I'll just share that video, okay, offline, so that you can just have a look at it, the entire code structure and all, right? So you can actually kick off a particular user when he just spams around. Okay, if there is any unnecessary text messages or comments, or we can actually block a specific user, right? So you can just leave these a task to bot. Okay, it exactly takes care of that. Okay, the way in which bot can be programmed actually, right? So the way how it works, it basically requires a programming language here. Okay, again, when you talk about programming language, it can be anything. Okay, but you have different popular stacks available when you design when you create an application. Okay, you might be wondering like you have multiple technologies, right? So I'll just tell you some technologies which you might want to practice or which you might have to develop interest on, because it has a very big future, right? So when it comes to an application development, right? So obviously, like everyone over here would be comfortable with fewer or 80% of HTML or CSS content. They will be able to design websites and all, right? So go with the JavaScript content. Okay, so there is a language called as JavaScript. The initial use of JavaScript was only to validate your web pages, your form entries, everything. So all your validations was actually carried out using a JavaScript. But later on, there was a huge dramatic shift in your JavaScript. Okay, basically it was a scripting language, but it has evolved itself as a programming language. Okay, if you look at an application on the front side, okay, on a front end for your web pages, you have lots of frameworks which are created to design. Okay, so you have React, Angular, etc., which takes care of front end designing. When you come around the business logic, that is where bot resides. Okay, you have to write some business logic for bots to work. So that is where for bots, that area, like you have something called as Node.js. So Node.js is actually another JavaScript framework which focuses only on the business logic. Okay, so I hope like you are familiar with framework. Is everyone familiar with framework? The keyword, like what exactly does a framework mean? Yeah, I just teach programming. Okay, I love programming. What does a framework mean? Framework.
Set of pre-written code.
Set of pre-written code to some extent. Okay. Any other things? Okay, assume a situation where I'll just give you a real-time example, right? So assume yourself as a cook, chief cook. Okay, you are just a specialist in preparing delicious dishes. Okay, so I have chosen 4 of you people. Okay, I just have a festival. Okay, I just have a function at my home. Like I just want you to prepare feast for that. The total members would be around 20 guests. Okay, so you have to prepare feast for 20 guests, right? So given that I have just informed this about this 4 days ago, you are supposed to give your items, dishes today, right? So this is actually the scenario what I'm just trying to frame. Okay, so you have your own all 4 of you people like have your own taste, like you just don't buy anything masala packets from the outside, like you just grind everything on your own, you have your own uniqueness. Okay, but given that if the time is very less, okay, say for example I want all these things to be done in just 1 hour. If your time limit is very limited, then you struggle a lot to do that job. Okay, because you need some ample amount of time to do all these things, because you are better at that one, and you don't want your name to get spoiled, right? So you just decide on how can I do it, because given the time is very less and all, you just complain about it. What I'm just giving you is, I'm just giving you a modular kitchen, a modular kitchen for each one of you. All those modular kitchen will have all the utensils, all the items, all the masala packets, all the refrigerations, all the vegetables, all the grocery items, everything is ready. All you have to do is you have to just put all these ingredients and you have to cook. That's it, right? Whatever I'm just giving you may not be the one you wished for. Okay, you might have wished for a very large utensil, but I would have given you a short one. Okay, that's not a problem. But whatever you require, 80% of whatever you require is actually there available inside that modular kitchen. If this is actually the case, given that the time given for you is very less, will you accept taking in that modular kitchen? Will you be okay with accepting that modular kitchen and prepare a feast, or will you deny accepting your modular kitchen? Given that your time is very less for creating a feast, you are actually an expert in creating the entire feast by preparing everything one after the other. Okay, but you don't have such amount of time here. Okay, all you have to do is like you have to do it immediately, right? So if that is actually the case here, definitely you would go for accepting that modular kitchen, because you want the task to be automatically, you want everything to be created instantly, because everything is available there, right? So that modular kitchen is actually your framework. The modular kitchen is actually your framework. You don't have to do anything. Whatever you want is already available there. All you want to do is you have to take that, you have to use it, you have to build it. That's it. So you have different frameworks available for each layers of your application. If you want to build a website, you have a framework for that. You have multiple frameworks for that. You don't have to worry about framework. Okay. So when you are actually working on with something like when you want to create an application, it was in age old times. You have to learn everything, you have to do everything. Now everything is ready-made available. Okay, all you have to do is you have to plug in and you have to do it. Okay, so when you look at front end, you have Bootstrap. It's a framework. Okay, you don't have to create any specific. You don't have to write any CSS properties by your websites. Everything is already done. All you have to do is you have to use that class and you have to build your website, right? You have something called as React or Angular, and when you talk about business logic, you don't have to worry about anything. Whatever people would require for writing your business logic, everything is already pre-built. Okay, you have something called as Node.js, you have something called as a Spring framework. Okay, people like who are actually working on Java, like they know like Spring framework is your top level job hunters. If you just look for a job, definitely Spring will have its most top position. Okay, Spring developers will always have a higher level of package as well. Okay, there's a more, it's a most demanding skill actually. Okay, when you talk about storing data and all, right, you speak about database, right? So you have to store all your data as the right. So there also you have frameworks. You have Hibernate, you have MongoDB, like everything, like all your internal couch operations, everything is done with the help of framework. Okay, framework simplifies your application development experience. So try to get at least an idea of like what exactly is framework. Try to use a bit of frameworks and try to build some beautiful websites. Okay, and bot creation, it does not take more than 1 hour of time. Okay, I'll just promise you. Okay, so all you want to do is like you have to learn the prerequisites. Okay, it's all about what is that tech stack you're going to take for building an application. You have to fix your tech stack. What is the technology I'm going to use for building any kind of application? Okay, so that's what exactly it is. Okay, so here I'll just talk about So someone has asked for Express, right? Aish Kumar Chaudhary, yeah. Can you be specific? Yeah. You want to know about Express?
Yes, sir.
Hello? Yeah.
Yes,
You
sir.
want to
I'm
know
to
about
know.
Express?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So whenever you create an application, the one big headache over here is you have to be very cautious about your functionality. So if you want 10 features to be available inside your application, you have to manually write code for all your 10 applications. So once that is done, 50% of your headache is over. I will not say that is 100% because you have to create a server for that. You have to deploy your application there so that the server should be always up and running. So people who are very good in application development, they may not be good in troubleshooting the server. Okay, people who are good at troubleshooting the server and doing all those deployment kind of activities and build activities may not be good at application development. Okay, so whenever you develop even a small task, for seeing that in action, you have to put all your heart and soul working on the configuration side, right? You have to keep all your server up and running. You have to create it. You have to do all those configuration steps. Okay, only then you can see your application running, right? So that is where your Express.js is coming and helping you. Again, I was talking about framework, right? Again, Express.js is again a framework of JavaScript. Okay, when you talk about frameworks, if you have around 100 frameworks out there in the market, 80% comes only from JavaScript. So that is why I'm just asking you to just develop an habit of learning JavaScript from the basics as a programming language, then getting inside all the frameworks. So Express basically saves your server configurations work. Okay, it basically works on top of Node.js. Okay, so I'll just speak just one line about Node.js. Okay, simple, just one line statement. When you just I'll just show you a demo here, right? I'll just show you a demo. With this, I'll just try to wind it up. Okay, so it's already time for you people, right? So what I'll do is I'll just open up an browser. Is this browser visible to everyone?
No, sir.
No, sir.
And now it's visible.
Right. Okay. So you have a website. Yeah, you have a website here which basically speaks about analytics.js, right? So what I'll do is I'll just inspect it. As I have already conveyed, like this is your DOM structure. This is your DOM structure. What I'll do is I'll just go to the console window here, right? I'll just eradicate all these console messages. So I'll just write document dot write. I'll just put your content is erased. Right. Can you see the website here? Can you see all these logos, all these headers, all these search buttons, everything?
Yeah.
Right. The moment I click enter here, just check out what happens to this website.
Got replaced by the text.
Exactly. So what you have done here is you have completely erased the DOM. So when you look at elements now, you have only this one, the value what I have just given here. Your content is erased, right? Because with the power of JavaScript, you can modify your DOM with the power of JavaScript. Okay, because how this code is able to run here, if you just look at it, this is after all a single statement, right? So you are just executing it inside a browser. Every browser has HTML rendering mode, which knows how to interpret your HTML and CSS tags. Likewise, every particular browser now has your default scripting language set as JavaScript. So it defaults, it can understand JavaScript. Okay, so this is your JavaScript code. So document actually refers to your DOM object. So I'm just writing a new content over that so that it erases the entire content, right? So this is done. So I can also write a small function in JavaScript to execute it. Say for example, function add. I'll just pass some two values here, x comma y. So here, if you look at it, I'll just pass return x plus y. Right now, if I just invoke that method, add 1 comma 2, I'll just get 3 because this function, it's written in JavaScript, it is getting executed because your browser can understand JavaScript. So it is not a very big deal to use JavaScript to do all these kinds of stuffs. But when you come to a business logic area is something like which is outside this browser environment. Okay, This browser captures user information. It sends the request to server. So server is actually the location. Okay, the business logic resides only in that server. It is at a different location. It is not inside this browser. There, if you want to use JavaScript, if you want to use JavaScript in writing business logic for your application, there you don't have this browser at all, because you don't have this browser which can understand JavaScript. Okay, so there you need someone who can run your JavaScript code, who can understand your JavaScript code. Okay, so how this browser is able to understand? Because this browser, every Google Chrome browser, it has an engine called as JavaScript engine. Embed engine is available here, V8 engine. Okay, if you just look at the JavaScript engine for different browsers, so here you can see. Is this visible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
So for when you talk about Google Chrome, you have a JavaScript engine for that. Okay, when you talk about that, it's nothing but V8. For other JavaScript engines, for Firefox web browser, we have a JavaScript engine inbuilt, which is called as SpiderMonkey. For Safari, we have JavaScript core. For Microsoft Edge, we have Java Chakra. Everything does the same job, but the name, it will be different. Okay, because all these are all JavaScript embedded engines which are present inside your browser. It is only with the help of this engine, your particular browser is able to understand JavaScript. Okay, but when you talk about business logic for your application, bot generation, how your bot should respond, everything of that sort, definitely you have to write some business logic for your bot. Okay, there you need to use JavaScript. Okay, why? It's not mandatory like you have to use only JavaScript. It will be good. Okay, but the same V8 engine which is powering up your Google's Chrome browser is actually remodified, or it is like added with more amount of features, and they have created something with a new name. Okay, and that we'll call it as Node.js. Okay, when you talk about Node.js, it is nothing but V8 engine. So if you look at your Node.js, okay, so this is your official website for that. Okay, so it's nothing but a JavaScript runtime, which is basically built on Chrome's V8 JavaScript engine. All they done is like they have just ported this V8, a new version of V8 is created, and they have just used it as a normal software. Okay, having this inside your uh, computer, you can run JavaScript anywhere outside the browser also. It's not mandatory like you have to type only JavaScript inside the browser window. You can also type JavaScript code outside the browser window, and this node will help them in executing it. Okay, so that is where like it is possible for every application developers to work on JavaScript on different layers of your application. Okay, so this is all about the tech stack, whatever I'm just speaking over here. Okay, so definitely we'll have another session. If you're really interested to know about how bots are actually developed, definitely when we will actually have it. Okay, so I'll just open here right now for questions. Like whatever whatever I have just conveyed. Like, is there any specific doubt with respect to the content what I've delivered so far? Even Next.js, when you talk about it, like it's actually when you develop an application, you will come to know about production and development and all, right? So production and things and all. So when you develop an application, you will be requiring some tools. Okay, for running it, you might not require the tool. So that's about your production and development, right? So when you talk about HTML web page, right? All you need is an editor. Just a notepad will do. If you type some HTML codes inside your notepad, and if you just save it with a file name.html or HTML extension, that is more than enough for developing an HTML code. So here the dependency factor here is just a notepad. You need an operating system and a notepad. That's it. But for running your HTML code, definitely you need something called as a browser. So when you talk about production, it is always browser is actually a dependency. When you talk about development, notepad is also a dependency, right? So we have all these things, right?
Sir, I have a doubt. When we like open a browser, sometimes in some browsers there'll be a notification like this website is using cookies for better enhancement. What do you mean by cookies, or does it have something to do with bots?
Cookies, your bots will still have access to read all the data which are available in cookies, right? So that is actually possible from a bot's perspective. Okay. So, but when you talk about cookies, okay, these are just messages. Okay. So your web browser will actually pass a certain web service will actually pass some certain messages to your web browser. Okay. When you are actually trying to visit a specific site. Okay. What your browser will basically do is it will just try to store each of these messages, whatever it is actually sending, okay, in a small file, and that is actually called as a cookie, right?
Thank you, sir.
You have all the informations regarding the page you actually visit, you have visited, whatever is your interest, everything and all, right? It's all for the betterment. Like next time when you are looking for the same website, like it will just get loaded in a faster manner. So that's it. Okay. Even now, when we talk about it, we have different applications which works offline also. Okay. We have some particular workers or helpers which are actually worker threads. Okay. Worker pull threads which are actually used in applications, which makes your applications work even in an offline environment, right? So whenever there is an online, like it syncs up everything at a later point of stage, so that the user is actually comfortable working with that specific application, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir,
Yeah.
regarding these cookies, I have a doubt, sir.
Yes.
So, cookies can store any sort of information.
I don't get you. Repeat
So,
it.
can cookies store any kind of information, or only like a particular string or a bit of text?
So the informations mainly which cookies will contain is more related to your web pages.
Okay, so is it possible to actually store malicious stuff in temporary files and then be executed as a virus?
Repeat it.
No, like suppose you visit a website and
Okay.
a malicious cookie is stored on the like temp storage. Like the code is malicious and it can automatically get executed without the user even clicking anything, like just by
Yeah, that is
entering
actually
website.
that is actually possible. So there is something called as a dark web. Okay, so it deals more with these kind of things. Okay, there are people like those who are actually using internet for the right side. Okay, so there are actually a separate market which is available, which is actually called as black market, and like there is actually something called as dark web. Okay, so where all these kinds of activities are actually taking place, right?
Oh,
So that is where like we need something like an ethical hacking, or what are all the different ways where our particular data are being exposed. Everything we have a separate course as well. If you are interested, like you can also take it. Ethical hacking, you have it actually.
yeah. Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes. Any other questions so that we can actually? How do we see a HTML page of any particular website or an app? Right click on it, inspect on it, so that you'll be able to see the DOM, right? So the DOM is nothing but your HTML page, or else like you can just click on page source, view page source. So if you click on it, it will just display the entire things. Okay, so this is for your current page, right? Okay.
Sir, what is a session?
Yes.
So what
What
is a
is it?
session? Session.
Session. So say for example, I'm just working on with an application. Okay. Say for example, I'm just working on with a banking application. Okay. You're just logging inside your banking application with your usernames and password, right? The moment you enter inside, you are actually shown a dashboard page where you have your all your account information, all those details and all, right? So now what I'm just doing is I'm just saving your URL. Okay. So say for example, this is your URL for your dashboard page. I'm just saving it in a notepad, right? And you just logged out successfully. You have just logged out your account, you just went off. Okay, then what I'm just doing right now is I'm just trying to use this URL. I'm just trying to enter your particular web application. What I know right now here is I know the exact URL for your dashboard page. If I just click this on the address bar, if I just type this on the address bar, will my application take me to the will my browser take me to the application, or will my browser will prompt me for a login page again? You got my question, right? You have a login screen for your application. You have a dashboard screen. Okay, you are your account summary page, right? So you have logged in. You will be able to access your dashboard page because you're an authorized user. Okay, you know the credentials and all, right? You have successfully logged out. Okay, what I'm just asking you to do is I'm just trying to figure out what is your URL address bar. Okay, so here the page where you have your dashboard, right? Your account summary. Okay, I'm just trying to hit that page directly on the web browser. So will my browser be displaying the dashboard page, or will it take me to the login page again? Will it redirect me to the login
Dashboard
page,
page.
asking
Dashboard
for
page.
login? So you say like it directly displays the dashboard page. Definitely, it will not be the case. Why? Because you are not an authorized user here, right? You know the URL here. Simply typing the URL without providing any login credentials will not directly take you to the dashboard page. It just checks it. If this URL is being given from the browser, first it checks for your authentication. Are you an authorized user? So every day whenever you log in, your details like your username and passwords has to be validated, right? So it will generate something called as a web token, Java web tokens, JWT, or you can have something like in session. Session will be created and a session ID will be stored within a random value. Okay. So as long as that session is active, that will actually have that particular validity, right? Once you click on that logout, like the validity of that session could have got expired, and the moment again if you just try to log in, a new session will be created. Only then all these. So session is mainly for carrying out all your web page navigations and transactions, everything in an authenticated manner. Okay, everything inside your session is actually authenticated. When you just move out of the session, nothing is authenticated, right? Can you just understand whatever I'm just saying? Session
Yes, sir.
related details can be stored. Okay, you can retrieve for a session. Okay, so that is actually possible. Any other specific? Is it clear, or do you want me to explain again?
It's clear, sir. Thank you.
Right.
Sir, you actually told you told many specific things about JavaScript, right? So can you just tell like where can we learn JavaScript very easily for just for absolute beginners or something like
Okay.
that?
Right. So I'll not just say like learn JavaScript from a beginner's level. Like, okay, you're all like you have tremendous potentials in learning. Okay, I'll suggest you to go with the basic website of W3 schools. Okay, so where you have an option to learn HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, everything. Okay, so I'll not suggest you to stick around with this website for a longer period of time. Okay, this is just be here because of the fact that you should not be afraid of coding, right? So you should first have a decent confidence with moving on with any particular language over here, right? So first learn JavaScript from this particular section. So you have a decent normal section and an advanced section which is available. Okay, so just learn from this. Then try to move on to another website here, which is actually called as modern JavaScript tutorial. Okay, so you have an javascript.info. So this will be the right website which can guide you. I hope this is visible to everyone, right? Is it
Yes,
visible to
sir.
everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. It
Right.
is visible.
This is basically a Russian website, like they are just trying to transform everything inside English. It has three parts. Okay, so why I'm just referring this specific website? It not only teaches you JavaScript, it also teaches you the developer fundamentals. If you want to become a web developer, if you want to become an application developer, even the fact like we have discussed about developer consoles, right? So it talks about console. So Google Chrome, it gives you this window, right? So here you can actually talk about a console, like what are all the options available there. Everything is available. From a developer point of view, you are actually learning everything here, right? Right. So this is one more excellent website which you can actually use for learning
Sir, can
JavaScript.
you repeat the name of the website, sir?
JavaScript.info, info.
Okay, sir.
Right.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Why my video is not on? Okay, I have been working around the clock, right? So team has like stay look it up. So I don't want to demotivate you. That's the reason. Right. If the clarification is done, like we can just end the session here. Is it anything else which you have to?
Hi everybody. So if you have any more question, you know where to reach us. Please send a mail to us. We will reach out to Navneethan and get back to you. Thank you so much, Navneethan, for your time. It was a wonderful session. So this brings us to an end of another interesting session. Thank you so much. And thank you all of you for attending the session. If you have any feedback regarding this session, you can always get back to us. Yes?
Okay.
Thank
Thanks a lot,
sir.
children.
It is a
Thank
wonderful
ma'am.
session.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll meet in the next session, like where we'll be developing some bots. Okay, in real time. Okay.
Sure.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Bye.
Hello.
Chitra?
Yeah.
Chitra, we can end the session.
Okay. Yeah. I'm.
Yeah. Bye-bye.